Story 1. Wow, this hit me really hard. My daughter attempted suicide on December 18th, 2018. It literally does change everything. The thought of having to live without her is unfathomable. Every single day since then has been beautiful, a gift. Even the bad days, and there have been quite a few, all beautiful. Story 2. 3.5 months ago, I loaded some camping gear onto the back of my bicycle and left my home in Wisconsin with the vague goal of getting to Seattle and heading down the Pacific coast. 104 days and 4,000 miles later, I have seen some absolutely beautiful parts of the country. I've learned a ton about myself and grown as a person, and most importantly, I have seen time and time again the overwhelming kindness of the world we live in. I don't know what it is about it, but for some reason, traveling by bicycle just brings out the absolute best in everyone I meet. From the unending generosity of the people who have opened their homes to me, providing me a shower and bed, food, and their wonderful company over dinner, to the drivers who saw me stopped on the side of the desolate Wyoming roads and pulled up to offer an extra water bottle when I was a million miles from a gas station soda dispenser. Everybody wants to be a positive part of my story. In this day and age, we seem to focus way too much on the hate in the world. But thankfully, the hateful among us are nothing more than a vocal minority. I deeply believe that this world we share is a kind one, and that we all want the best for each other. And that, to me, is far more beautiful than the mountains of Montana or a sunset over the Pacific Ocean. Are you okay? By the way, the title is concerningly specific, what with you mentioning suicide in particular and not more generally just dying. Story 3. My graduation and seeing my mom being proud of me. Edit. Thank you, kind strangers, for my very first awards. I really have to tell my mom about this. Haha. Story 4. This has been a pretty difficult year, but not in a no hope for the future sense. Parents have been ill, work has been unpleasant, and an ex who I'm still on friendly terms with had a terrible family tragedy. I wouldn't have missed much yet, but I'd miss out on the better times to come. Story 5. My brother did last June, and he missed out on Kingdom Hearts 3, the next entry in his favorite video game franchise that he waited for since 2006. I bought it and played it on his behalf, but I am not very good at it. My brother was also a massive Toronto Raptors and basketball fan, and my mother and I watched the finals and had no idea what to feel when they won. That's the stuff that really gets you. The stuff you knew your loved one would have been extremely excited about. My advice for anyone going through depression: you can always die later. You are going to die someday. The world will make sure of it, so you don't need to take on the anxiety and burden of ending your own life. But you can only live right now. So why not stick around for a few decades and see what happens? Procrastinating death is the best use of the skill, honestly. Nobody can tell you procrastination is a negative quality if it's what keeps you alive. It gives me comfort to know that I don't have to be here or do this forever. It gives me comfort to know that I don't have to take my death into my own hands. I've suffered from depression and crippling anxiety for about 12 years myself. And what keeps me going? It's the little things. I always pick something, anything, to look forward to. A new show or movie, a new game. I follow tennis and enjoy that. Vacations or visits from family members. Family is everything, and the little things that you like make up who you are, and no one can tell you your interests are small or worthless. Because you like them, and they make you happy, and that's good enough. So just keep looking for the next thing to look forward to, and hold on tight no matter how strong the winds of depression become. Don't let go. You can weather the storm as long as you maintain hope that tomorrow can be better than today. Story 6. I took my son to the state fair. I took him on his first ride on the Tilt-A-Whirl. It's my favorite ride. We giggled and screamed and laughed. We did it again 4 times. We had our caricatures drawn together. He told me it was the best day. I really loved it. Story 7. Nothing. My friend passed away today. My ex-girlfriend is trying to ruin my life, losing my best friend to said ex. My car was lost in an accident. I was fired from my job. I just can't find the courage to hurt my parents. Story 8. Was suicidal for a long time, still have the thought on a daily basis but finding ways to cope. This last year has been a roller coaster. January, I dropped out of first year of university in a forensic science program due to inability to afford university education even after the Ontario Student Assistance Program. I started working minimum wage general labor jobs to support myself and family, which is in major debt. In May, I found a non-profit organization that gave basic 3-month information technology certification program. In September, got a 3-month paid internship with the City of Toronto. Unfortunately, my internship ends tomorrow as 3 months have passed. Feeling depressed as hell as I enjoyed my work and friendly staff, but my life has a bit of hope left. If I ended it earlier, I wouldn't be able to discover my interest in information technology, as well as be able to build my first gaming personal computer, which I sold to regain costs. Too long. Didn't read. Dropped out from university, worked minimum wage jobs, did an information technology certification and found an interesting and rewarding experience. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Thanks again for all the kindness and support from all of you. I have tried to address all your responses, and thanks again for the anonymous silver. I am still new to the whole Reddit thing, so thanks again to the community. Story 9. Meeting a lot of new friends, keeping my friend from attempting suicide, and believing her when unfair rumors are being spread about her. The mom is the reason she almost attempted suicide. She subjects her to verbal abuse. The rumors are still going on, and I've heard a lot about them from her friends who do believe her. They are being spread by a girl who is a good friend of ours. But she and my friend got into an argument. Never mind, forget her. She just ended our friendship for a YouTuber that she liked or never even talked to or had any contact with. Story 10. Literally nothing. But killing myself would mean handing this earth the win. If she wants me dead, she's gonna have to do it herself. Story 11. My life is actually starting. Realizing I am not as everyone tried to make me believe I was my whole life. Confronting the reality that I live with severe complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And by live, I mean I kick life's ass and don't let it ruin me. I stood up against 2 abusers. One is now on probation for 2 years, and I got everything I said would make me more comfortable if he took the plea deal. The other is my mom, and I feel more empowered in our strange relationship. She is my best friend, my main source of trauma, and also exhibits many characteristics of someone with antisocial personality disorder, as in all of them. I got off my psychiatric medications, have the best job I have ever had, found direction in terms of my education and career goals, and will be starting school again in the fall. I am settling into my own home, first time living independently. I'm making actual friends for the first time in my life, with one gigantic exception. I have a cat that I love, I'm addressing my physical health, and am clearly at a place in my life and recovery that indicates I'm starting the rest of my life. Also, come the 11th, I've made it to 30 years old. Life has never been this beautiful. Story 12. Seeing my daughter eat for the first time. She was born premature, and she has a gastrostomy tube in her stomach. She did not take anything by mouth. She just turned 19 months old. We worked with a speech therapist for a year before she had the ability to take a bite. Baby steps. I'm hoping in another year she'll be drinking on her own. Story 13. A friend of mine kept telling me to watch her favorite TV show, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and I finally did, and I really liked it. Relevant to this discussion, one of the themes that recurs in the show is failing to see that you have friends and people who care about you, and feeling more alone than you really are. Story 14. I would have missed nothing. This year for me has been the worst in my entire life. Everyone I knew died or moved away. I became depressed and isolated myself. If my life had ended last year, I would have at least died happy. Every night I dreamed that the year 2019 had never happened, and everyone was still alive and happy. The problem is that I wake up. Story 15. Having a best friend, someone who truly cares about me and wants to hear my problems. Also, another friend of mine had a child, and I get to go to their house sometimes and get baby snuggles. Story 16. Almost 3 years ago, I chased a ton of Xanax with some wine. I was tired of my brain, diagnosed with bipolar disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. I just couldn't live with myself anymore. I didn't think it would ever get better. Luckily, I lived even though I wasn't happy about it at the time. I started seeing my doctor more often. He finally found a medicine combination that worked and made some major life-changing choices. A little over a year after that attempt, I met my now husband. We have been married almost 2 years now. We have traveled to so many great places, made amazing memories, and are soon moving across the country. It's super scary to think I would have missed out on all of this if I was successful. Story 17, Half-Life. Alex. I'm 17 and not much else interesting has happened recently. If I weren't here today, I would have missed out on the next game in the series that sparked my love of personal computer gaming. It's not really as profound as the other stuff on here, but it's important to me. Story 18. Meeting the woman I'm currently dating. All my previous relationships were long-distance ones, so she is the first woman I actually go out with. Even if the rest of my current life were not going well, I'd still think it would be worth it. Update. She just ended the relationship with me. Story 19. I went to the zoo a couple of weeks ago, and it was really cool. I am really enjoying the new Pokemon game too. On a less minor note, I just turned 16. I am seeing a therapist. I am on testosterone, and I do not want to harm myself anymore. I am in the process of being diagnosed with autism, and my dad is super understanding about it. My mom is not, but I do not really care. I am on vitamin D supplements, and I am not as constantly tired as I used to be. I realize my cat is bonded to me, and I am pretty sure we both mean the world to each other. I am getting good grades in school, and it feels pretty great. It has been 2.5 months since I have harmed myself. Not really a long time, but it feels like it. I still get urges, but I threw away the razor in my room, and I have not regretted it. The past year has been wild, but I am pretty glad to be alive. Since I mentioned my cat, I love them both so much. Story 20. Small compared to some of the other replies on here, but I thought I would share my answer. I was in a bad place around this time last year and, for the first time, put real thought into ending my own life. After some therapy, I obviously never went through with it, and man, am I glad. The main reason for the depression I felt last year was how I just didn't fit in. I had friends in school, but that's it. I never did anything outside of school for the most part. Lots of Friday nights and weekends sitting at home, watching television or playing video games with tears in my eyes. I was so frustrated with my lack of social skills, and I was intensely jealous of others. On one particularly bad day, I told myself that things would improve or I would kill myself. Those were the only two options in my mind. Fast forward 1 year later. Yesterday was my birthday as well as one of my best friends' Friendsgiving celebration. I and almost 40 of my closest friends got together for a fantastic time. I was happier than I had ever been. Now I am sitting in bed, dozing off, and I saw this post. I burst into tears thinking about everything I would have missed. Homecoming, my driver's license, my first car, a soccer district championship, college scholarships, prom, a vacation in Europe, Christmas, birthdays, weddings, and more. I will end this story with a cliche, but it is unbelievably true. Life gets better, perhaps not in ways we are expecting, but it does. Life is like a roller coaster, ups and downs, fast and slow. It even has some loops and corkscrews. Just enjoy the ride. Story 21. I would have missed my entire friend group that I have now by only less than a month. Having a girlfriend who would make my life much better. We broke up, but she is my best friend now. And overall experiences that made me the boy I am today. Story 22. Absolutely nothing of interest. But I would have missed my ex leaving me, my beloved cat getting hit by a car and dying, a lot of miserable dates, the death of my uncle, how it feels running low on money, my 7 weeks in the clinic, a lot of back pain, my depression getting really bad, and how it feels to fall apart because of age. Just to name a few. I do not like this question. I feel mocked. Story 23. Dang, I feel like this is fate. Exactly 1 year ago, I was in the hospital after a suicide attempt, and it's been on my mind lately. If I had succeeded, I would have never fixed my relationship with my parents or experienced true love again, or even the little joy of feeling my very own cat purring next to me. It's still a struggle most days, but life really is beautiful, and I'm really glad I'm still here. Story 24. Getting sober. Sending my kid to a private school and seeing him flourish and start reading. Seeing my wife get sober. Would not have believed any of those things a year ago. Story 25. My girlfriend and I had just had a picnic near the Eiffel Tower and were headed back to where we were staying. As we waited for the train, a family came in and sat across from us on the other side of the tracks and started playing some music. The song September came on. My girlfriend pulled me up from the bench and we started dancing. I'm not very good myself, but she's a great leader. Meanwhile, the family across from us started to get a little into it, doing a little dance in their seats. When the song ended, the family clapped for us, we started laughing and took a bow. The train came not long after that, and as we boarded and sat down, I looked to the family, waved goodbye, and returned the gesture. It was so brief and pure. I will never know anything about those people except a shared memory of a delightful encounter between complete strangers late at night in the Paris underground.